Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. Today we're going to talk about underdetermination in science. Okay, so what is underdetermination? And I'll show you how a lot of theologians have used this and how this leads into what I will later discuss about occasionalism and Asharite, Asharite and occasionalism. So, anyway, what is underdetermination? I would like to start with this explanation. Look at this object. You've never seen it before, probably. You don't know what it is, okay? So, how can you know what it's going to do a priori? You just see this object. How do you know what its behavior is or what it does? What is the nature of this thing? You didn't build it, you didn't construct it, you just saw it. Now you're going to, how would you know what it's supposed to do? Okay? Many people will say, the only way you can know what it's supposed to do, since you're not the one that made it, you've never seen it before, is to try and do something with it, hold it, put it on you feel it, okay? You try to experiment somehow with it. Can I throw it? Is this something like that? So this is the first time you're seeing an object. You will try to mess around with it and see what it can do, right? So the argument goes like this. Since you don't know what it's supposed to do, you cannot have an explanation for it. So now one of its behavior, let's say you find another second one, and then you use this one to eat this other one, and you hear a sound, okay? Or you use it to eat the second one, and it moves. You cannot explain this sound, neither can you explain how this one will move when I eat it with the second one. What is the whole point? The point is that there's an infinite amount of explanation that can result to the sound. There's nothing necessary about the sound that you hear. There's nothing necessary about it moving when I hit it with the second one. Why is this? You'll be like, what do you mean there's nothing necessary? The reason why you think it's necessary is because you've experienced it before. Now imagine another scenario where I take this first object, I hit it the first time, I hear a sound. I hit it the second time, I hear nothing. How will I be able to know its behavior? I would have said, okay, sometimes I hear sound, sometimes I don't hear sound. Now imagine the next time I hit it together and both of them disappear. Imagine after every moment I try to do the same experiment, I get a different result. I will never be able to tie down what is the nature of this thing. I will never be able to explain. Now, if that is true, if there's no contradiction between hearing a sound and hearing something else, or totally behaving in a different way, logically, there is no contradiction in another result from resulting in it. For instance, let me give you a ridiculous one, but it shows the argument clearly. Most people will say, if I eat this thing with this second one, it's going to move, okay, motion and all those things. But what if I eat it with the first one and then it turns into another human being? Or it turns into an elephant? Remember, we've never seen it before. We've never experienced it before. So we will think that it's going to behave in any way possible the first time we try it. The first time you try it, you're not expecting anything because you don't know what it is. So why is it that you have now attached a particular way of behavior to it? It's because of constant behavior, because you constantly get the same result. And this is what is called induction, which is the foundation of science. Okay? So now, how does this apply to theology and occasionalism later? We as theists, we believe, especially if you're an occasionalist, that there's nothing necessary with this actually. It's true. You cannot find any explanation to this. Let me give you another example. Imagine in the past, they used to think that when the sun rises, they used to hear the cock crow before the sun rises. Okay, so they attach a correlation. So the whole point is that all this thing I'll be showing you is correlation. It's not actually causation. These two things cannot cause the sound. They can only correlate. Okay, if you create another effect, you see it correlate again. Now, some people want to attach nature to these two things, that they have a nature and they must necessarily create a sound. Okay, but they cannot back it up. They cannot give a definition of this. And you find philosophers like David Hume and even other philosophers that have shown that the induction principle, you can actually prove it. You cannot prove it. You have to assume it. You have to presuppose it as your starting foundation. You cannot prove it, okay? So now, they used to attach the crow of the clock to what's it called, to the sun rising. But later on, be like, this is stupid, right? Then they moved on from there and they find other explanation why the sun rises from there. But you see all this explanation, they always get better. Sooner or later, someone will come with another explanation. We used to think gravity was a force. Now, people are telling us gravity is not actually a force. It just appears as an illusion. Do you know this? Newton thought gravity was a force, real force that was actually there. Now, Einstein physics, gravity is not a force anymore. It's a curvature of the space-time. So you see, like, these explanations keep changing, and the philosophers or even theologians, they just go further than this. Like, these explanations will continue forever and ever. We'll always get better. We'll always find a better explanation for these things. And what is at the bottom of all of this is that you cannot actually explain the cause. You cannot see the cause. Okay, so David Hume gave an example that, imagine you have a glass and then you throw a stone at the glass. So the glass breaks because you've already done it before. That's why you're expecting the glass to break. The first time you do it, you don't know what's going to happen. You cannot know what will happen. So he's saying that what you actually see is a correlation between the stone and glass. So you see touch. What happens after that? You cannot explain it. You cannot. It's not necessary. What happens after that is something that what's it called? It's just a correlation. It could have been any other way. It could have been anything that happens. So therefore, it denies causation. And it just says everything is a correlation, a bundle of correlation and stuff like that. So now, you see this under determination is very important. Especially if you're going to be an occasionalist, like I will explain in another video. It's very important foundation. I want you guys to understand it and tie it down. That there's no causation, there are only correlation of things. And there's no amount of explanation that you can give that will eliminate the contingency of the effects that we experience. Okay, so that is what under determination is the fact that there's an infinite amount of explanations that can explain why something caused another one to a particular effect. And since we cannot find the final one, maybe there is no final one. And that's where we come in and say, it is actually God that creates the sound. It is actually God that creates the cause and the effect. That you assume that is a cause and effect that is necessary. It's actually God that is in charge of it. So, do you guys understand this? Do you want me to make a part 2 of this under determination? Because next time I'm going to come, I'm going to talk about occasionalism and how I've slowly or gradually I am becoming an occasionalist, and I will explain some of these other ideas when we get to that other video. So let me see what you guys think in the comment section, and see you guys later. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.